you can go through tools and production. This is strand 4 in our pre-technical studies grade 7 curriculum design. And very quickly, we are going to define measuring tools. We are going to define marking tools. We have examples for various categories. For the measuring tools, we had looked at the steel rule. We also looked at the tape measure. Before we continue with today's work of a continuation of the various tools in the measuring category, for those who had not captured anything, you can capture very quickly. Let me give you 10 to 15 minutes before we can continue with today's work. Just in case your screen is not visible from your end, you can let me know so that we are on the same page. Jerry, your video is off. Okay, I can see you. Alan, your video is off. Jigu, your video is off. Alan, good. Jigu, good. Okay, so everybody is on board. So when you are defining measuring tools and marking tools, these are the two broad categories in tools and production. We only have two types of tools. We have the measuring ones, the ones are used to measure physical quantity. You can measure length, you can measure time, you can measure weight, angles, volume, and temperature. We refer to them as measuring tools. Then we have the marking tools. These ones, marking tools, they are used to indicate a point on a surface to obtain accurate size. Yeah, so from measuring tools, we have the marking tools. Now, we have the examples of measuring tools right down here. And we had started with the steel rule. We had started with the steel rule. We said that steel rule is also called steel ruler. Steel ruler. Why? Because it is made up of a material called stainless steel. It is made from stainless steel, hence the name steel ruler or steel rule. From the chart, I can see somebody has written something. Let's try. Can you return to the meaning of marking tool? Okay, okay, that is Celine. Okay, we are here, marking tool. Yeah, marking tool. So in case you have a challenge, you have a question, you have a concern, you have an inquiry, please just raise your hand or type in the chat box. So when we are defining tools, they are categorized into two. We have what we call marking tools and measuring tools. And for the measuring tools, they are devices used to measure a physical quantity, such as length, time, weight, volume, and temperature. Now, on the other hand, we have what we call marking tools, and these ones are devices used to indicate a point on a surface to obtain accurate size and shape. With the marking tools, they indicate a point on a surface. With the measuring tools, they measure the physical quantity. Now, what can you measure as physical quantity? You can measure length, you can measure time, you can measure weight, you can measure angles, volume, temperature, etc., etc. Now, a common measuring and marking tools, we had started with the measuring tools. And in this case, we talked of what we call the steel rule. And steel rule is also called steel ruler. It is also called steel ruler. And it is called steel ruler because it is made from a material called stainless steel. It's made from a material called stainless steel. It can either be flexible or rigid with different thickness, Now, what are the uses of a steel rule? Just very quickly, they are used to measure length of an object or a distance between 2 points. They also draw straight lines. They also draw straight lines, and at the same time, they guide cuts. For example, you want to cut a piece of paper, a manila, or maybe you are doing some sort of construction and you want to make pieces into various shapes. You might be having to cut a manila paper into a triangular shape, into a square shape, into a rectangular shape. You will use the steel. You place the steel rule against the paper to a desired length and you cut the paper. It just gives you straight edges of those papers. Now, the fields in which the steel ruler is used, you can use it in geometry, you can use it in welding. You all know welding workshops, right? You've seen those people doing welding. They have steel rulers for measuring the various sizes so that they can cut the pieces of metal into required shapes and sizes. Then we can also use steel rulers in fabrication, technical drawing, architecture, and construction. Architecture and construction. Now, that is where we were last lesson. That is on Monday. Then we moved it to, this is the drawing. You see this? This one is the drawing of the steel rule. This one is the drawing. This one is the drawing of the steel rule. This can be drawn in an exam, and you're asked to identify the type of tool. You categorize it and you name it. So you say this one is a measuring tool and it is called a stainless steel ruler, or you can simply say it is a steel ruler, or you can say it is a steel rule. This one is the steel rule. Then we have the tape measure, yeah. The tape measure is also called measuring tape. The tape measure is also called measuring tape. The tape measure is also called measuring tape. Ryan.
Yes.
How are you?
I'm fine.
You remember on Monday telling us we have two categories of tools, the measuring tool and the marking tool. You remember, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so here we are looking at the examples of the measuring tools, then we will later look at the examples of marking tools. Jubilant.
Okay.
Jubilant. Jubilant.
Yes,
How are you?
I'm fine.
Okay. Celine.
Yes,
Good morning.
morning.
Jerry.
Yes,
How have you been?
I'm good.
Gabriela.
Yes,
Good morning.
morning.
Okay. Njigu. Natania. Njigu.
Yes,
How are you?
fine.
Okay. Emma.
Yes,
Good morning.
good morning.
Alan.
Yes.
Are you okay?
Yes.
Perfect. Hey, Max. Max? 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 Dylan? Dylan?
Yes,
Hey, you went missing. Where are you? I can't see you.
Open your video.
Yeah. Dylan, your video is off. Max, your video is off. And
shut up.
Njigo, I can see you. We are good. We are good. We are good. Godfrey,
Yes,
how are you?
fine, thank you.
Wema,
Yes,
hi.
hi,
How are you?
I'm fine.
Hey, Peter.
Yes,
You good?
yes,
Okay, so we are looking at tools and production. And you guys had recommended that we start from there because you realized that maybe the learning area was not well captured, or there are some parts of the substrand you didn't understand. So that is where we are. We are on measuring tool number 2, what we call the tape measure. And you are saying it is also called measuring tape. You can say tape measure or measuring tape. Now, it is flexible in nature and it is marked in millimeters, centimeters, and inches. We have different types of measuring tapes. We have different types of measuring tapes. And they are made up of various materials. Unlike the stainless steel material used to make the steel ruler, the tape measure can be made of a fiberglass. It can be made of fiberglass. You see here, fiberglass. It is one material used to make the measuring tape. It can also be made of a cloth. This one, a cloth. At the same time, it can be made of a plastic material or a metallic strip. So all these are materials used to make the measuring tape. Now, the uses, it is used to measure length of an item. It is used to measure length of an item and distance between points. For example, you went to a tailor and you wanted to do a designer short, you wanted to do a designer trouser, you wanted to do a designer t-shirt. They will have your measurements around your neck, around your chest, around your waist, and the length from maybe your shoulder to the bottom of your leg. They will use a tape measure. Now, it is also used to measure a round curved object because it is flexible in nature. It is also used to measure a round curved object because it is flexible in nature. Now, the fields in which we use the tape measure, we can use the tape measure in masonry, we can use it in plumbing, electrical installation, surveying. It can also be used in crafts and woodworking. Now, this one up here is the steel rule, but this down here is the tape measure. You see, this one is the tape measure, and we have said it can be made of various materials. Also, this one is the tape measure, but in this one is normally used by masoners and carpenters. I am 400% sure you have seen this type. This one is used by masoners. This one is used by people who make clothes. It can also be used at home. Maybe you are doing random length of your pieces of cloth that the ones you put on your chairs. Godfrey.
Yes. Yes.
Nyumbani kuna vitambaa sio vya kuweka kwenye viti.
Ati?
Nyumbani si kuna vitambaa vya viti?
Yes.
Hizo vitambaa huwa vinapimwa kutumia hii tape measure hii hapa. This one is flexible. Now you see this one on my right. This one is the one used by those people doing masonry work, those people doing carpentry, those people doing woodwork. They use this type of tape measure. Then we also talked about the square. Now, the square is another example of a measuring tool, and it is a measuring device that consists of two straight edges. One edge is short, another edge is tall. Now, these straight edges, they are at right angles. They are at right angles. What does it mean to be at right angle? It is 90 degrees. When you are drawing the square, for example, the square should be at 90 degrees. The square should be at 90 degrees any day, any time. So when you are using a square, it should be at 90 degrees. That's why we are saying it has two straight edges. The first edge here, you can see this one. This edge here, it is taller than this edge here. This one is short. The same to this one is short, but this edge here is tall. So here we have 90 degrees. Now, the 90 degrees is what gives it the name square. There are different types of squares, and they are mainly used to measure and ensure that two perpendicular surfaces are at a straight line. They ensure two perpendicular surfaces are at a straight line. For example, if you are to draw this line here and another line here, then you should use a square to ensure this area, they are at 90 degrees. So that is the work of the square. Or if you are to draw this edge here and another edge here, then this area here, it should be at 90 degrees. And how do you ensure it is at 90 degrees? You use a square. Now, it is also used in different fields to ensure that joints and corners of objects are truly square. It is also used in different fields to ensure that joints and corners of objects are truly square. So you simply take the square and you drag it to the area you want to find if it is at 90 degrees or not. Now, uses, we have already said the uses. Then we have the fields in which the square is used. Now, the square is used in woodwork. It is also used in masonry. It is used in mechanical engineering, plumbing, among other areas. Plumbing, among other areas. I can see, Dylan, you are drawing something. So are you drawing 90 degrees or you are drawing a perpendicular area? What exactly, Dylan? Dylan? Dylan?
Yes.
I can see you are drawing something. It's okay, no worries. So let's continue and focus on the next measuring tool. We have, this is the square. You see this one? The Mason's square. This one is called a tri-square. The tri-square is used by carpenters in most cases and those people working in woodwork. This Mason's square is a square used by masonry people and those doing in plumbing works. They use this, the Mason's square. So we have the Mason's square and we have the tri-square. Then number 4, we have what we call calipers. Calipers is another tool that is used for measuring. And this one, it is a measuring tool that consists of 2 adjustable jaws. The calipers consist of 2 adjustable jaws. We also have different types of calipers. For example, we have here what we call the inside calipers. With this one, you see how the jaws, how the jaws are. They are facing the opposite direction. This one is facing to the right. This one is facing to the left. This one is the inside adjustable caliper.
Alex, mute yourself.
Is it Alex or who is that? Okay. Yeah, so we were here on the calipers as another example of measuring tool. We are saying the calipers, it is a measuring tool that consists of 2 adjustable jaws. And we have different types of calipers. For example, the inside caliper, this one, the outside calipers, and the vernier caliper. The vernier caliper. So you can clearly see the distinction when it comes to the drawing of the caliper. You see, this one is the outside. The jaws are folding toward the out. That is why it's called outside caliper. The other one is the inside caliper. The jaws are folding toward the inside. When, for example, let me just annulate. You see here, this area. This jaw and this one is folding on the inside, here, inside caliper. Now, the outside caliper, you see here, this leg and this leg, it is folding to the outside here, to the outside here. So that's why we are calling it the outside caliper. Then we have the vernier caliper. The vernier caliper, in most cases, it is normally drawn across a meter rule. You see this meter rule here, the one that is calibrated, and I'm using red to highlight here. So you have to slide it along this ruler, either to the inside this direction or to the outside the other direction. Then from there, we have the micrometer screw gauge. The micrometer screw gauge is another measuring tool. The micrometer screw gauge is another measuring tool. The the micrometer screw gauge, it is also called a micrometer. It's also called a micrometer. Now, how is it used and where is it used? It is a measuring instrument with a G frame, G frame with an adjustable spindle, and it is used to measure the diameter of wires. So a micrometer is used to measure the diameter of wires and the thickness of small sheets, such as glass or plastic, So the difference between micrometer screw gauge, what we call the micrometer, and the calipers, it is that the calipers have two adjustable jaws, while the micrometer screw gauge has a G frame with an adjustable spindle. Now, this is the micrometer. You see how it is, and how when we talk of an adjustable spindle, this is the G frame. This one is the G frame. You see this. This is the G frame we are talking about. This one is the G frame here. This is the G frame. Then the adjustable spindle. The adjustable spindle is right here. This is where you adjust the spindle, the adjustable spindle. So you can, when you adjust from this end, it either moves to the inside or it moves to the outside. So this is the difference between what we call the micrometer screw gauge and what we call the caliper. Calipers, we have different examples, e.g. inside caliper, outside caliper, and the vernier calipers. Now, for this one, the micrometer screw gauge, we have said it is used to measure diameter of wires and thickness of small sheets, such as glass or plastic, Now, we have what we call the spirit level as another measuring tool. From the chart, may you please go back to the meaning of calipers? Okay, calipers. Peter, there we are, here, calipers. Calipers, it is a measuring tool that consists of two adjustable jaws. And we have different types of calipers. For example, we have what we call the inside caliper, we have what we call the outside caliper, and we have what we call the vernier caliper. Now, these three examples have been shown here. You see, this is the inside caliper, this is the outside caliper, and this one is the vernier calipers. This one is the vernier calipers. Now, all these three, they are used to measure thickness and outside dimension of an object, like a tennis ball or bottle. So you adjust from this end here, either to the inside or to the outside. Then you will get to measure the distance around an object like a tennis ball or a bottle. They are also used to measure the internal dimensions of hollow objects like rectangular tube or cylindrical pipe. So if you want to know the length of a cylindrical pipe, you use the calipers. You either adjust the caliper inside, outside, or you use the vernier caliper. Yeah. Then from the calipers, state that we have the micrometer screw gauge as another measuring tool. And this one is also called micrometer. Now, with the micrometer, it is a measuring tool or instrument with a G frame. And I already showed you the frame here. This is the frame. See here? This is the G frame we are talking about. And this G frame is fitted on an adjustable spindle. This one, a spindle. This shaft here is what we call the spindle. So it is adjustable. You can adjust to the outside or to the inside to get the exact measures of the object you are or you want to take the measurements for. Now, the fields in which calipers are used, we have metal working and other mechanical fields. That is where the calipers are used. Then we were talking of the spirit level, this one. Now, with the spirit level, you can say with the spirit level, it is a tool consisting of a sealed glass. Now, let me show you the glass, a sealed glass. You see here, here we have the glass, here we have the glass, and here we also have the glass. So these three areas, they are the ones that we are referring to as sealed glass tubes, partially filled with a liquid containing an air bubble. We have an air bubble inside here at the top and the other side. Now, it is used to determine if a surface is vertical or horizontal. Now, for example, you wanted to draw, you are against a wall. Let's say this is a wall, and you wanted to determine if this wall is horizontal, as in horizontal this way, or it is vertical this way. So you will take this spirit level, you place it against the wall. You place the spirit level against the wall here, or you place it here to determine whether it is horizontal or if it is vertical. Now, when the bubble air in the spirit level is at the middle, then it means the wall is either vertical or horizontal. Now, the fields in which calipers are used, we have masonry, we have carpentry, we have also plumbing, we have survey, and we have metalwork,
What I hope one
calipers, Peter. Okay. Peter.
Yes.
Please tell me what is masonry. Okay. Now, masonry, it is a type of profession whereby people involved in building of houses, either using stones, either using bricks, or using what we call potholes. Just a minute, I show you masonry. Masonry. Just a minute, I show you masonry works, Peter. Just a moment, Peter. I show you masonry. So let me share. What can you be able to see, Peter, from my screen? Peter, what can you be able to see? Sorry? Buildings. Now, you see like this one, let it load. You see this is a building, right? Can you be able to see this building?
Yes.
Yeah, so that is a sample of where masonry is applied. Masonry is a skill used in building of houses and other structures. So you see, let me also get another building. Very quickly. Are you seeing this, Peter?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is what we refer to
In
as
this
masonry.
video,
So,
you will learn about masonry.
and with masonry, we have
When
sand
structures are
involved,
built by using mortar to
we
bind together.
have bricks involved, we have mortar, we have stones, we have concrete, we have blocks arranged in specified ways. All this is called masonry. So, Peter.
Yes.
Yeah, so now you understand what the masonry is, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go back to where we were. We were talking about the spirit level, spirit level. Yeah, so here, this is the spirit level. And we have said it is used to indicate how horizontal or vertical a surface or an item is. The fields in which the spirit level is used, we have the masonry, we have carpentry, surveyor, plumber, metalworks, and other interior designs. Then we have the thermometer. I want to believe you all know what a thermometer is and what it's used for. This one is the thermometer. Like during the COVID-19 times, it is an instrument that is used to measure the temperature. It's an instrument that is used to measure the temperature, and it can be digital or analog. Like this one is digital because it is showing exactly what your temperature is, 36.8 degrees. This one is digital. This one is analog because you need to read along. This one is analog because you need to read along to be able to identify your temperature. You see, this one is digital, this one is analog. And it is used to measure the temperature of solids like food, liquids like water, or gas like air. Now, the areas which uses thermometer mostly, we have the industry and technology. We also have medicine, and it is also used in research. Maybe you have gone in a hospital and you are suffering from malaria. They want to ascertain what is your body temperature. They will use a thermometer on you to know exactly what your temperature is. Because normally, the normal temperature of a human being should be 37 degrees centigrade. So in the event it is above that one, then it means you are sick, you are not normal. Then we have what we call the plumb bob. Plumb bob. It is also called plummet. This one is another example of a measuring tool. Plumb bob or plummet. Now this one, here it is. At times we also call it plumb line. Kabiro, inaitwa kabiro kwa Kiswahili. Hii, it is used to put or to determine whether a surface is straight or not, the plumb line. It is used in construction industry to ensure that a vertical installation is perfectly placed. Plummet, plumb line, or plumb bob. It is used in construction industry to ensure that a vertical installation, such as a wall, is perfectly vertical. We call this plumb bob or plummet. So you see, we have a variety of measuring tools, and there are very many. So this is just a few that we have decided to use. Now, somebody can ask you examples of real life situations where plumb bob is used. You say here, see this one, this part. See this part? The examples of real life situations of uses of plumb bob include ensuring a wall is vertical when constructing, ensuring fences posts are vertical during fencing, fixing a poor frame or a floor. You have to determine the edge, the height in the top of the house, the bottom of the surface, then the walls. They should be perpendicular to each other. They should be at right angles. If you didn't use a square, then you can use this plumb to determine how vertical the walls are. Then installation of ceiling lights or pot lights and hanging of pictures. We also install wallpapers using the plumb bob. Now, the fields are mostly construction and masonry. That is where the plumb line is used. This one, plumb line. Then we have the measuring cylinder. This one, you know it. You have interacted with it in the computer, in the science lab. It is calibrated glass or plastic cylinder used for measuring volume of liquids. The measuring cylinder. This one is the measuring cylinder. Used in laboratories, veterinary and human services, measuring drugs, chemicals, and medicines.